So today I'm going to do a review on the Carhartt Logger. I've had a pair of these for almost a year now. I've been wearing them about anywhere from 5 to 6 days out of the week. I don't just wear them when I'm working. I work for a communications company, so I'm up on telephone poles a lot and in and out of customers' houses. So I wear the boot all day, and when you're in a pair of boots all day, no matter what job you're doing, you want them to be comfortable. These boots are extremely comfortable. I do have a few pros and cons that I want to go over because I've looked up some videos on them, and there's a few overviews, like 1.5, 2 minute long videos about the boot, but there's nothing really too in-depth on usage of the boot. So here's the boot, brand new. These are size 11. This is my second pair. I have not worn these yet, obviously. I did treat them, and I messed up a little bit on the back, but the front doesn't look too bad. And here are, here's the right boot that I've worn for about 11 months. A little bit of side-by-side comparison for you guys, just to see how they've worn. You notice how the pull tab on the back has ripped off on this boot. That happened like a week ago. So the things that I like about these boots that I enjoyed a lot, their comfortability. They're extremely comfortable boots. I've got no problem wearing them all day. I actually went camping, I think last fall in September, and I used them for the whole weekend, and they were great the whole time. And the only reason I bring it up is because I slept in them too. I didn't take my boots off because it was cold. So even if you want to sleep in them, that's not hard. A few things that I like about it is the laces here. It has options for, it has an eyelet hole as well as the standard loop. I usually like to keep it in the eyelet, which is nice because you don't have to kind of worry about your shoelaces. It's much faster to lace them up. You just pull them real quick. A lot of people get used to looping them around. It's really just your preference. I prefer leaving them in the eyelet, kind of just like a big sneaker almost. The other thing that I like is that it has a removable insole. The insoles come out really easily. Let's see if we'll just do that for you here. Not as easy on the new ones. So it does have a removable insole, and that's actually really comfortable. It was a good insole. I never really had foot fatigue, except for when I was breaking in the boots, but that's normal. It took about a week or two to really break them in comfortable enough to, to not notice them on your feet. Removable insole's huge for drying them out at night. My feet sweat a lot in the summer, and that makes a big difference. Take those insoles out. I throw them on a peat dryer, a peat foot dryer I got from Tractor Supply. Let's see here. A few other things that I do like about this boot. Sorry, this is my first YouTube video ever. Is the safety toe. It's not a normal steel toe. It's a composite, so it's kind of like a plastic. But it's rated for the same drop test as the steel toes would, so you don't worry about it being any less safe, or you're going to crush your foot. It's not going to happen. It's rated for the same weight as a steel toe. And the benefit of that is that it's not as heavy, so you do have a little bit lighter feeling on your foot, but as well as it's not as cold in the winter. I wear these, I think the coldest I've worn these outside is about -35. I live in upstate New York, and it gets really cold up here, especially when you're up on a telephone pole 30 feet in the air, and it's -20 with a wind chill of another negative, 10, 15 degrees on top of that. So it can get pretty cold, and I went through all this winter with just a good pair of socks, winter wool socks. I do like Carhartt a lot, and with the company that I work for, I get a discount at Carhartt. Many companies do, or job statuses. I know police officers and correction officers, they get discounts at Carhartt. But so I wear Carhartt a lot, and I wear the Carhartt Crew winter wool socks. I have a pair on right now. Not for this video, just because I'm going to wear them today. But let's go over some of the negatives. Some of the negatives are they wear out pretty fast. Like I say, I've had these for about 11 months, and maybe that's indicative of boots starting to wear out. They're all as, they're just as good as a work boot. I don't have to worry about my feet not being comfortable or safe. They're durable enough when it comes to that sense, but the insole has started to peel apart here, right on the crack, and lots of boots do that. But these are about $200, and I didn't think that a $200 pair of boots would be falling apart like a $120 pair of boots. There's a lot of competitors of Carhartt that do that, and I know this is kind of Carhartt's first few logger style type boots, so maybe they're just starting to work through a few kinks. I know it's a learning curve for a company, but that's the thing too, is that being a company that's kind of late in the game, they took a lot of good ideas from other boots and incorporated it into theirs. So aside from the insoles, falling apart here, I'm on a ladder a lot, so I suspect, from being in that ladder lock, and it does have a steel shank for extra support. I feel like being in that ladder lock is what started to make it give in that area. But even in other parts of the boots, I don't know if you can see, like right in here, it's starting to crack apart. I think that's just from the cold. Like I say, I've worn them in extreme cold. And here's the left boot. This one here's got a big crack on it from the cold. And again, it's starting to fall apart. Not as severe as the right one, but it's starting to fall apart right at that seam where those two pieces come together. And the other thing is, I tunk my feet off before I go into customers' houses and before I get in my van. Before I get into my regular personal truck, I just tunk my feet off all the time. And the leather on the toe is starting to worn away. I don't beat them by any means, but I tunk my feet off before I get into vehicles or go into houses. And I feel that, maybe it should have been maybe a little thicker around the toe or just not worn away so fast. I've had a pair of boots that didn't do that, and I've had a pair of boots that did it after a few months. So I guess it just all depends on the material of the boot. And you can get little toe caps. I have a pair brand new that I've never used, but I don't think I really like the way they look. I don't know if I'll try them on my next pair or not. But overall, I do have another pair of boots. These new ones here. It's the same model. I don't think I'm gonna wear these again. I'm gonna give these to my little brother. But as far as the boot goes, I guess it was okay for everyday use. But honestly, I think I'm gonna buck up the extra cash and get something maybe more worth the while. If I'm gonna spend $200 on a pair of boots, why don't I just go ahead and spend $300 and get a pair that's not gonna blow out in the same areas? This was the biggest thing for me, that it's starting to fall apart right here. And once this happens, once that sole starts falling apart, you can only keep these things waterproof, water resistant for about a week before you got to retreat them again. And that's just not really what I want to do with my boots. I want to be able to put them on, go to work, not have to worry about it. And yeah, I know you have to do the regular maintenance and keep your boots treated with like mink oil or something. I prefer mink oil, and clean them up with saddle soap. I didn't clean these up before the video, obviously, because I just wanted to show you guys how they look after 11 months of use. But my cousin has a pair of Chippewas, and their soles are like about a 1/4 inch thick, and his are not splitting in the same spot where these are. He's on a ladder a lot. He's a roofer, and his are not falling apart the way these are. And his boots were like 300, I think 350 after all was said and done, which some people might say that's a lot for a pair of boots, but not if you want a pair of boots that's going to last more than a year or two. Honestly, if I kept wearing these same pair of boots, I think I would only get maybe another 2 years out of them, max, like absolute max. I'd say I'd probably retire them after a year, to be honest, because this is a year in, and they're just about, halfway through their life cycle as it looks. But other than that, thanks for watching, and that's the end.